Afternoon, guys and ladies. Thanks for being here. It's exciting that we can sit here with another win and an incredible home atmosphere for our opener, our fans and students and band, cheerleaders, everybody involved in helping create that atmosphere from the administrative side. It's just fun to play at Jordan Hare, and it's a very it is a really good home field advantage, and we're going to need that moving forward and starting this Saturday. And so I'm glad it's another sellout. I think that's 17 consecutive sellouts, which I think ties a school record. So again, we're very thankful that we get to play in front of such good fans and student section and everybody that makes it so difficult to play at. So. It was a solid win. I thought defensively, the effort and physicality was there. Our loafs went way down from week 1 to week 2. Our tackling was much better from week 1 to week 2. We still had some bust that we've got to continue to improve, but it went down, but still a few too many. But I thought defensively, the effort, the way they responded to sudden change when we had a turnover and battled to keep them out of the end zone, I thought spoke volumes about their belief in what they're doing. So thought they had an incredible game, and they got us a turnover. So it was a solid game. But the special teams wise, our coverage units were good. We didn't execute a field goal or a punt very well, so we've got to continue to work and improve those areas. Sudden change there with Towns getting an injury and Gibbs coming in. I thought he did phenomenal. His kickoffs were exactly what you want with hang time and distance, and so really good to see him step in when you have a next man up mentality. Offensively, I did not think we strained very well up front, particularly. I know we averaged 9 yards a rush. The run blocking was solid, but did not think we strained the entire game, particularly another slow start in both halves. Some of it's not exactly them, giving up the 2 sacks was disappointing, but we've got to make sure that the pocket is where it needs to be also as coaches, and that's on us. And one of those was definitely we were way too deep in the pocket to be able to protect from that launch point. And so we as coaches have to make sure we get that fixed. But I just thought we could have strained more, and I know we did some good things and obviously rushed the football for 9 yards a carry. That's pretty good. And 24 from 28, so it's hard to sit here and act like we weren't solid, but there are things on the film that I think that we need to improve, and so we'll go to work this week to try to do that as we host what I think is one of a very good G5 football team in South Alabama, and Major does a great job. He obviously has been with some good programs and knows ball, and Petrino is a very good offensive coordinator, and impressed with what they do on that side of the ball. And then defensively, they muddy up the picture really, really well with all their movements and different fronts that they give you. So got 2 of my former coaches down there on staff, so that's always throws another little dynamic to it. In preparing, but have great respect for them, the job they're doing there, and I know that they'll be excited to come and play in Jordan Hare this Saturday.
Go, Mike, to get started. Nathan, Jason, KG.
Coach, you said after the game that Auburn was focused on being balanced Saturday. You achieved that. After having a chance to review the tape with Jackson, what things are you noting, and what's the plan going into South Alabama?
Say that one more time, if you don't mind.
Just, Jackson after you
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I thought, he had 2 throwaways and was still 24 of 28, so it was a solid night passing. I don't like the sacks, and he used his legs when he needed to. We didn't call any quarterback runs for him. Saturday evening, but he still used them to be effective at times. But I mean, he was pretty, 24 of 28 is a pretty good stat night, and thought he got our receivers involved and and allowed us to stay balanced like we'd like to be from game to game. Obviously, each game has its own flavor when you get into it, and you figure out the way people are trying to play you, and you certainly want to be wise and doing what is going to be effective or has the best chance to be effective against that, provided you can block them and win routes and things. So I thought he had a really solid night, truthfully, and looking forward to improving upon it as we move forward. We'll need to be balanced against South Al as they do a lot of things, and we need to try to keep their offense on the sideline for sure, and limit their number of opportunities.
Do you have an update on Towns and his status?
I think he'll be okay this week. He was moving around pretty decently this morning. It's just his foot caught the turf and it kind of tweaked his ankle, but I think he will be okay.
You got a connection with Kieran from high school and Arkansas State. What have you seen out of him in year 2 here, and what do you think has been the biggest change in his play?
The improvement he's had from year 1 to year 2 here is pretty drastic in my mind. I think he's more flexible. He's stronger. I think most of the credit goes to our strength staff and Dom, and just the change in his flexibility and his body. He bends a lot better off the edge, and so I think most of that credit goes to him and his work ethic, and to Coach Dom and them. Love his leadership. He was one that got a lot of votes for captain, and is on our leadership team, and is doing a really nice job in all areas of being our voice in the locker room that people listen to.
Yeah, Hugh, I think I know what you mean when you say strain, but specifically coming into the South Alabama game, what do you want to see, from the offense that they're straining? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, if I do think you can, and I think this hurt us defensively too. And I don't want to go off on a tangent, but all throughout fall camp, that whistle is blown like pretty quick when you're not in live situations, which is what, 80%, 85% of camp. And I think our DBs get used to that whistle being blown pretty quick, and they think, well, the blitz got there, and they just get used to that timing. And man, all of a sudden you get in a game and that's not happening, and you've got to strain for the entire play. And I think it's the same way O-line sustaining blocks. We're blowing a whistle pretty dang quick when somebody gets close to that quarterback, and then they're not straining for the 4 seconds that it may take. I think that's a long time to hold up, but sometimes you have to. And I don't know. We've actually talked about yesterday in staff, trying to create that more, where they've got to strain for a 3 to 4 second play and learn to finish for that length of time, and then just pad level, being more consistent. And it's you'll have 4 that look really good, and listen, our O-line, again, we rushed for 9 yards, so they did a lot of good things. So I don't want to sit here and I don't know. We want to get better, and so I think we can all strain a little more to win at the top end of routes as receivers, quarterback to make sure we're at the right launch point and we're progressing our reads properly, and O-line straining to win for a little longer length of time, tight ends the same. So it's not just them, not just the O-line, but there's 5 of them on every play that they get graded, and we're probably grading pretty hard right now. But do think, and I would like to see us get off to faster starts and in both halves.
Do you expect Damari back this week, and is there anybody else who's expected to be limited or out going into this week?
Damari, it will probably be a game time decision. I know he's going to try. I mean, he's trying. He went through walkthroughs this morning, but until you put the pads on and and take a hit on it or something. I'm not sure exactly how he feels. So he'll be a game time decision. Unfortunately, we lost Darrell for a period of time to a freak injury. He didn't even really know he was hurt after the game. And Sunday morning, he had a collection of blood like I've never seen in all my years coaching on his thigh, and we had to kind of rush him to Birmingham to open that up and get the blood off of his leg, and they had to do a pretty good incision on it, so he's going to be out for a little while.
Hughes, Xavier Atkins has been the top guy at linebacker for the first couple of games in terms of snaps by a large margin. When did you guys kind of realize he had that potential to kind of be a leader in that room? When did it kind of click for a guy who did not play very much last season at LSU?
Yeah, it was DJ and the defensive guys and personnel believed he had that potential when we signed him. I became a pretty quick believer, throughout spring ball into fall camp, especially fall camp. His movement skills and his strength and explosiveness. I know he's not the biggest, biggest linebacker, but boy, he packs a pretty good punch and he plays the game the way you want it played. It's 100 miles an hour like Eugene Asante, similar. And, it didn't take long for us to realize that we needed that quick twitch and tackling ability on the defensive side on the field a large portion of time, and he continues to produce.
Coach, wanted to ask about Sylvester Smith. He's got a lot of responsibilities out there on defense, moves around some, and seemed to have a really good game on Saturday. What can you say about what he brings to the secondary?
Yeah, it was really nice to see because we challenged him pretty good after the Baylor game. I know his snaps may not be significant from the past years, but he has some experience that we need to be a voice back there to settle us down if we are creating some bust on our own and we need him to lead. And I thought he responded to our challenge very, very well and played a really solid football game and was physical and tackled well. His MAs were way down. So really proud for him. He's worked hard for this opportunity and hopefully he can continue to build upon last week.
Hey, Hugh, what would you make of how the defensive line is playing? Do you feel like they're buying into what you were talking about, rotating and kind of playing those few snaps? The sack numbers are good, tackles for loss are high. How do you feel like that group's playing so far?
So far, so good, and just hope that buy-in continues because I do still believe that our strength there is because of numbers and playing a limited number of snaps with incredible technique and passion and fundamentals. And so far, it's worked. I mean, I think both games, the D-line has been, they've stopped the run, which you do that, you've got a good chance to win a lot of football games. And I think that they've bought into that thus far, and hopefully will continue to.
Hey, Hugh, just wanted to ask about Jeremiah Cobb's running style, how he's different than Damari, and as well as he's played through 2 weeks, are you more prone to maybe hold Damari back another week or two as well as he's played?
I would feel better if Darrell was healthy, but Omar had some really good carries and was solid. So Cobb is definitely different than Damari, probably more of a slasher than a power guy, and obviously has good open field speed, which he showed the other night, and is excited that he got his first 100-yard rushing game, and he'll have to carry the bulk of the load Saturday for sure, and we'll figure out how Damari is and get Omar ready to go also, and maybe even Alvin. We'll have to kind of see where we are toward the end of the week, but excited for Jeremiah. I think y'all know I've said leading up to this season, I really thought he was heading for a breakout season and appears to be on that track.
A little bit more on Omar. How important was it to get him some snaps now, especially with Darrell off? And what did you see from him other than running the football?
Yeah, I thought his runs were solid and physical. Didn't really have to pass pro a lot with him, so that's still an area, particularly this week with all the muddying of the front that we're going to get. He's going to have to spend some quality time with our running back staff and making sure he understands protections and what he needs to do against all the different looks. But nothing like live reps for him, and I know he'll be excited to get more when he's called upon.
Coach, you guys had a lot of big plays on Saturday, but overall, red zone efficiency is up year over year. Can you talk about what you guys are seeing different there from last year and how you're able to improve execution down in the red zone?
Yeah, it's early, but, I think I'm on record saying that there were games that we could have won the past couple years that we have to own. And the reasons were pretty clear to me. If you look at the stats, our rushing average was really good per yard and yards per game, but what was not good was the turnovers and our red zone scoring. And whether it was field goals or whether it was the lack of touchdown productions. And so the first thing you have to look at is our scheme, our calls, and see, are we putting our kids in the best possible scenarios for those. And then the second piece to that is continue to recruit players that when you do have the right call, that they have a good chance of winning on whatever given call it is. And so I think it's a combination of us examining, our plan and also recruiting to make some of those that were on tape like, oh, this is a pretty good call. We just got to win this route or win this block or make the right read or whatever it is. So, it's a combination of both us as coaches making sure we're having a good plan, and then you got to have ultimately down there, let's say what it is. When you get down there, somebody's going to have to make a play. There's going to be usually an extra guy that's unblocked that somebody's going to have to run through or around, or you're going to have somebody win a one-on-one on the outside. There's just when you get down there tight, now I'm not talking about the 20-yard line. We've got to have a great plan there and try to score from there, because when you get down that 5 and inside, it gets really, really difficult to scheme up anything that's going to get every hat blocked, and somebody's going to have to win in some way. So that's the recruiting portion, along with us making sure that the calls are schematically solid.
Going back to South Alabama, they almost came back and tied it against that Tulane team last week that a lot of people really like. Just what was it about their offense? I know you mentioned that you want to limit their opportunities. What stands out about them on that side of the ball?
That 1 and 11 can really run at receiver, and that running back is really good, and the quarterback is really athletic. You combine those things with, they're very multiple motion shifts, things that make you think, make you check, and before you know it, if you're not careful, you've made the wrong check, and one of those guys that can really run is hurting you. And so again, I think Petrino does a really nice job with the scheme, and then he's got guys that can run and make plays, and a running back that's was an SEC transfer, a really talented kid, and a quarterback that's athletic. So, and a solid O-line for G5. So it's I think his scheme, plus he has some good players.